Hello and welcome to Anime Memories, and on this episode, I'm going to be talking about Millennium Actress. Unlike many of the DVDs I've collected over the years, I hadn't seen this film before I bought it. It actually came as part of a 3-pack with Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust and Spriggan, which is one of the few anime movies I remember watching as a kid. Even though Spriggan had a lot of nostalgia for me, Millennium Actress ended up being my favourite of the three. The one major issue I had is that I didn't really understand the plot. It was very complex and my young teenage brain just couldn't make sense of it. So when I saw it on my shelf, I thought it would be a good opportunity to finally learn what's going on and gain a whole new appreciation for the movie. The anime is about a legendary actress named Chiyoko Fujiwara who's retelling her life story as a part of a documentary. However, she spent so much time shooting all these different movies that her past has become muddled. Her memories of her movies have merged with the memories of her real life, so she can no longer tell the difference between fantasy and reality. So the narrative she ends up telling is a weird combination of her actual life story and the plots of the various movies she starred in. So as I am now, was I able to understand the plot better than when I was a kid? The answer is yes, but I think I was a bit too hard on my younger self. I still wasn't able to fully comprehend everything that happened, but with the way the story is told, I think doing that would be impossible. Everything is seen from Chiyoko's perspective, and since she can't separate fantasy from reality, neither could I. It's purposely confusing, but at the same time, I never became lost because the writing is just brilliant. It's fairly straightforward so that most people can understand it, but there are also a lot of deep moments that are just begging to be analysed. With each scene they clearly define a few parts that were real, a few parts that are from the movies, and the rest is left blurry so the audience can fill in the blanks. With how complicated this can get, it must have taken a lot of talent and hard work just to have it make sense, but they went a step further. They made it accessible. I cannot give the creative team enough credit for pulling that off. Now, one of the major plot points that helps tie everything together is the man Chiyoko fell in love with before she became an actress. She spends her entire life, and hence the entire runtime of the movie, desperately trying to find him. And when the conclusion to this came along, I was having to hold back tears. It was really surprising. I had to stop and take a few seconds just to pull myself together. Another important element that helped tie everything together is that the people that are interviewing Chiyoko go back in time with her as she's retelling her life. They comment on the events of her past as if they were actually there. They even interact with younger versions of her at certain points. They became completely invested in her story, and this in turn made me get more invested in her story. They also give the film a much needed dose of humour.
That's what I call dramatic.
I know!
Whoa!
This is a fairly common tactic with dramatic anime. They'll add in a few comedic characters so that it doesn't become too emotionally draining. And a lot of the time it doesn't work. I love dramas, don't get me wrong, but many of them go overboard with the sadness, and the jokes they include aren't enough to counteract that. Luckily, this never happened with Millennium Actress. They cover some dark topics, but in the end, it left me with this sense of happiness, and I think the interviewers are to thank for that. This film could have very easily been a slog, but by giving these characters light-hearted personalities, it became immensely enjoyable, even though there were many sad moments. Now, when it comes to the visuals, the art looks great for a film that was made 15 years ago. Everything is drawn really well, and I love the attention that they gave to all the smaller details like the divots in the concrete and the patterns in the wooden fence. There were points where I was in complete awe at the amount of time and planning that must have gone in to every single one of these backgrounds to make them look this elaborate. Unfortunately, the visuals do show a bit of age when it comes to the colours because they don't have the same sleekness as modern anime, and they aren't as saturated either. The animation also looks a bit outdated. It gets fairly choppy at certain points, but it still manages to look pretty good all round. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think any of the negatives are enough to truly ruin the visuals. Really, they're all just minor flaws. The movie still looks beautiful. In terms of the music, I wasn't quite sure what to make of it at first because I was expecting this slow and somber soundtrack considering the premise, but no, it's fast and intense and techno, really? That's the genre you choose? It just didn't fit. And I know that was kind of the point. They wanted this mismatch between the tone and the music to further add to the confusion, but it took a lot of attention away from the story because I was constantly thinking about how weird the choice of songs were. On a more positive note though, I thought the sound design was pretty cool. I was really impressed with how lifelike everything sounded, and the best example I could find of this was a scene where Chiyoko was running with a key on her neck, and you could hear this light clanging noise.
Wait!
Again, this anime has great attention to detail. You know, I can't think of any better way to end this review than by talking about the director of Millennium Actress, Satoshi Kon. He would have to be the anime director I respect the most because he never stuck to a safe zone. He always was trying new things, and his films always felt unique. I've seen most of his work, and in my opinion, Millennium Actress is the best movie he's ever made. It's not my favourite, that would go to Tokyo Godfathers, but in terms of sheer objective quality, this is at the top of the list, and with some of the amazing stuff he's done, that's saying a lot. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you have any feedback, please leave a comment, and if you like this video and want to see more, please subscribe as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.